Hello and welcome to another Cold and Dark tutorial. Today we're taking the Grinelli design F-100D in DCS World from a cold and dark cockpit all the way to ready for taxi. In this tutorial we'll be following Section 2, Normal Procedures, from the USAF's 1973 F-100 Flight Manual as closely as possible, while keeping in mind the limitations of DCS. With that out of the way, let's jump into the cockpit. We'll begin our startup flow over on the left side. The first thing to check is the speed brake emergency dump lever. Make sure it's fully aft, which is the off position. Now move a little further forward next to the throttle and check that the wing flap handle is set to up. Just ahead of that, tucked against the cockpit wall, you'll find the emergency wing flap switch. Flip open the safety cover and verify the switch is in the normal position. Then close the cover again. Next, make sure that the throttle is fully in the off position, not idle. Set the UHF control switch to off. The ground fire switch should also be off, and don't forget to check that it's secured with its safety pin. Confirm the anti-skid switch is off. Right above it, you'll find the yellow fuel regulator. Verify it's set to normal. To the left is the drop tank fuel selector switch. Since we're carrying tanks on pylons 2 and 6, set the selector to intermediate. Continue aft to the air refueling switch and make sure it's off. Next up is the G limiter. Set it to on, then close the safety cover. The air start switch stays off with its cover closed as well. One important switch here is the engine master switch. Set it to on, then close the safety cover. Now check that the fuel system shutoff switch is safetied in the on position. Finally, verify the landing gear handle is down and both the landing and taxi lights are off. Next, make sure the A4 gun sight is caged. Down on the front panel, just behind the stick, set the gun missile switch to safe. In the lower left corner of the front panel, you'll find the yellow external load emergency jettison handle. It should be secured with its silver safety clip, which means the handle stays in. Right next to it is the special store unlock handle. Verify that's also in the in position. With the front panel taken care of, let's move over to the right side. Turn both the AC and DC generators on, then close their safety covers. Set the standby instrument inverter switch to off. Place the IFF master switch to standby. Further down the right side panel, make sure J4 mode selector is set on mag. Just to the right of that, turn the pitot heat on. Set the engine guide vane anti-ice switch to auto. And make sure the windshield exterior air switch is off. Now let's work our way a little further aft. Set the cockpit pressure selector to 2.75 psi. The cockpit temperature master switch goes to auto. Set the cockpit temperature wherever you prefer. For today's flight, we're leaving it just slightly towards the warm side. Move the canopy and windshield defrost lever just a little toward hot, and do the same with the console airflow lever. Now if you look at the right cockpit wall, you'll notice a yellow placard with a red handle just beneath it. That's the emergency hydraulic pump lever, and it should be positioned all the way aft, which is off. Let's head toward the oxygen regulator panel. Turn the oxygen supply on using the small green switch. In the real aircraft, this is where you'd perform an oxygen system check by putting on the mask and verifying the regulator is working correctly. Since DCS doesn't simulate that procedure, we'll skip it and move on. All right, let's get some power to the aircraft. Connect the ground power through the communications menu.
Copy. Ground power is now on.
Once ground power is connected, head over to the right side of the cockpit and switch the battery on. Double check that the engine master switch is still on. Now set the UHF control switch to both. Next, move to the front panel behind the control stick and verify the fuel quantity gauges show the expected fuel load. Back over on the left side, just beside the landing gear lever, you'll find a small black push button labeled Fire Detector System Test. Press and hold it while checking that the warning lights illuminate, then release the button. Now connect the ground air supply through the communications menu.
Chief, connect ground air supply.
Copy. Ground air supply is now connected.
Head back to the right side panel and momentarily press the Start and Ignition button. The indicator light should come on. Once that's done, apply the air through the communications menu.
Chief, apply ground air supply.
Copy. Air is now applied.
Keep an eye on the tachometer as the RPM begins to rise. At about 12 to 16% RPM, advance the throttle from off to idle. Check for the ignition light, fuel flow indication, and verify the fuel boost pump in-op light goes out. The RPM should continue increasing steadily to around 55 to 60%. While oil pressure rises to at least 40 psi, once the engine has stabilized, check all engine instruments for normal indications. After passing 45% RPM, you can disconnect the ground air supply.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply.
Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
With the engine up and running, let's finish setting up the cockpit. Back on the left side panel, switch the anti-skid on and set the yaw damper to engaged. Press and hold the takeoff trim push button until the green indicator light comes on, then release it. Now let's arm the appropriate station release switches. Since we're carrying sidewinders on pylons 3 and 5 and external fuel tanks on 2 and 6, arm the inboard and intermediate pylons. Leave the remaining stations as they are. Just above those switches you'll find Mode Select selector. Set it to Sight and Radar to enable the gun sight. Up on the front panel is the control panel for the AN APR 25. Go ahead and power it on, then turn the brightness knob all the way up. Alright, let's taxi forward a bit so we're clear of the hangar. Once we're clear of the hangar, you can arm the ejection seat. Remove the canopy jettison handle pin first, followed by the ejection seat safety pin. Now close the canopy, switch on the taxi lights, and you're ready to go. Thanks for watching this cold and dark tutorial. We're continuing to expand the series with more aircraft across DCS and other flight simulators. So if you'd like to see more, stay tuned. Until next time, have fun flying.